What's up, everybody? It's Legal Tender. I'm back in the building. I'm back in the vault. I pulled out some notes to make a new video. You already know I'm gonna start off by thanking everybody for supporting the channel. We almost at 900 subscribers. So like, comment, share, and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Welcome to the channel. If you are a fan of numismatics, if you're a fan of paper currency, if you are just getting into the hobby of numismatics, stay rocking with me, stay rocking with the channel. Every Tuesday is Legal Tender Tuesday, and I will be making a new episode every week speaking about something new, different, or interesting within the realm of numismatics. If you have any questions, comments, or input, please put it down in the comments section. I read everything and I respond back as soon as possible. Throughout this video, if I say something that isn't 100% accurate or it's a little different for what you know, let me know via the comments. I will go back, hit the books, and make sure that I have the right information moving forward. All right, with that being said, let's welcome the newest members to the Legal Tender family. All right, so I would like to welcome and acknowledge Dun Goofed, Unicorn Man 420, Giuseppe Mastro Palo. If I pronounce your last name incorrectly or the first name, I apologize. And Wasting Tooth. Welcome to the family. All right, let's go. All right, so the notes that I pulled up today are a couple random notes. This is a random note find episode. And these are random notes that I got. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so I got 5 random notes. This was a pocket search, and again, just random notes that I found to add to the collection. Your collection doesn't have to be 1928 series 1 or just all gold certificates or all silver certificates or anything like that. Your collection is your collection. So what you want to put in it, you put in it. And like these notes are all of the $1 denomination. So building a collection can be super affordable. It is just all based on what you want to put in your collection. So starting off with this first note is this is why I got it in the collection, because it is an ink smear note. See it right there. Yeah, that there is an ink smear. It's a minor ink smear to me. I done seen other videos where they break down major ink smears, major or minor ink smears, but if it's an ink smear, it's an ink smear. And I found this in a while, so I'm pretty good with keeping it. Now the inking process, now all U.S. currency, regardless of denomination or currency type, but at this day and age, all currency types are Federal Reserve notes. Like the entirety of the notes I'll be speaking about today, they are all Federal Reserve notes. And as always, you can tell the currency type up top, Federal Reserve note, and Federal Reserve notes are identified with a green Treasury seal and green serial numbers. Now, like I was saying, throughout, regardless of the denomination, currency is printed in 3 phases. First, they print the entirety of the reverse, because there's a lot going on back here. So they print the reverse. They print the reverse side first. They let the note sheet dry for 72 hours. Then after that, they print the obverse and let that dry for 72 hours. And then the third inking phase is when they add the Treasury seal and the serial numbers. And this ink smear had to come during the second inking printing process. Now that's what I noticed. Now the color of the ink on the reverse is green. You see right there. But the ink on the obverse is black. A little subtle thing that I never really paid attention to until just recently. And as you can see, there had to be a lot of ink toward the signature in the series year to lead to that smear. Now, again, like I said, I've seen episodes to where they make a big deal. Excuse me. They make a big deal over ink smears, or some just totally disregard it. I've seen notes via eBay and other YouTube channels to where the entirety of either the obverse or the reverse is completely black, or like all green, or just very huge, easily identifiable ink smears. Now, this note has some wear on it, and I appreciate that. And I don't think this is just like crud or smudge. This really looks as if it is a legit ink smear. So that is why I got this one in the collection. And if it make it to the point where it's in a sleeve, it's a keeper. So the first note is an ink smear note. All right, next note is my 007 note. Now, I made a previous episode speaking about serial numbers, and then I made another episode speaking about 007 notes, and I pretty much done spoke about my affection about the British super spy. And again, grew up with James Bond, so whenever I see a note that has a 007 within the serial number, I'm keeping that note, regardless of denomination, regardless of grade, anything like that. 007 in the serial number, I'm keeping it. So this is why I have this one in the collection. Random 007 story. Now, throughout my time in service, I was stationed in Germany, and I was actually at two locations where a scene from a James Bond movie was filmed. The 007 agent at that time was Timothy Dalton, the James Bond that I grew up with. He was the James Bond of the 80s. And the movie was The Living Daylights. And there was a scene where he was in Austria in two different locations. And one was a palace and the other was a amusement park. And throughout my travels, well, being stationed in Germany and my time taking a little trip over to Austria, I was able to go to those two locations without even realizing it. I happened to look back at that 007 movie later. I was just like, oh, joint, I was at those two locations. So I told myself whenever I have a 007 note, I would give a 007 story. So that is the story, that I was at two locations in real life that was filmed in a James Bond movie. So that's pretty cool. And this here is my 007 note. Next note that I have that is in the collection now is a star note, i.e. a replacement note. Again, some people, they make a big thing of star notes. Some people just like whatever. Star notes kind of stand out just because it is a one, it has history to it because it is a replacement note, which means that throughout the printing process, the note that had this serial number was not to the highest standard of the Department of Treasury. So that deficiency was identified. The note was pulled. It was destroyed. More notes were printed using the same serial number, and a star was added to identify that this is a replacement note for this serial number. Now, there have been some episodes speaking about how, and also a posting from the Department of Treasury stating that star notes will no longer be a thing, or they won't be in sequential order or anything like that. So I guess if you see a star note, keep it for nostalgic purposes, or just the fact to re-put it back out there on the market for a greater overhead. But I'm never selling any of my notes. But yeah, this here is a replacement note, which is identified with the star, and it is just an extra. Mm, that star is something extra that is included with the letter and the serial numbers to, I don't know how to explain it really with like great eloquence, but it is just something extra that is added to this US currency bill, this document actually. So anytime something extra is put onto it, I think it gives it a little bit more intrinsic value. So yeah, star notes, replacement notes. I made an episode speaking about star notes, the purpose of creation and things like that. So if you want to know a little bit more about star notes, check out that episode. So pocket find, random search, this star note, and it is being added to the collection as well. Now my next two notes are what I call, I came up with this term myself. I call these right here lady notes because there are the signature of two ladies on this bill. One, two. And we got Lynn Marleba as the Treasurer of the United States and Janet Yellen as the Secretary of the Treasury. And this is the first time in United States history. This is the first time in the history of the United States where the signature of two women were on a bill at the same time. Now, their signatures can be found on two denominations, the $1 bill and the $5 bill. Now, what I plan on doing is collecting all 12 Federal Reserve districts that have these two signatures on them. So I think I got eight of the 12 notes, with 12, the Federal Reserve District of San Francisco being the last one. I got 8 of the 12, so I'm missing 4 more Federal Reserve districts. Once I get those districts, I will have a complete set of lady notes, as I call them. So yeah, that is that. Now, everything that I speak about, like I say, speaking about numismatics and currency, I will always speak about something new, different, or interesting. And everything that I just stated pretty much comes from, it comes from the mandate of the Department of the Treasury, from the signatures that you will see on the bottom of the note to the stars that are added to the note, regardless of the denomination and things like that. And I just find it really, really interesting. And let's speak about some more interesting things. Now, these right here are all, well, obviously they're all women, but the one thing these women have in common is that they were all treasurers of the United States. And I got some pretty interesting information to put out about that. Now, with these notes right here, these lady notes, this series here will no longer be printed because whenever the signature of both individuals change, a new series year is printed. But that series year is only printed when a demand for new currency is needed. So now, since we have two new individuals at these two positions, the next series year will have not only the signature of two different individuals, but like I said, it will start a whole new series year as well. And I think it adds a little bit more value to these lady notes because they're only on two denominations out of 7. Now, the new treasurer of the United States is Patricia Collins. She was the 27th director of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and she is currently the 46th acting treasurer of the United States. And her resume is super impressive. Now, check this out. Now, she was the first woman to serve as the director of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing throughout the history of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, which is 162 years. She is also a retired colonel from the United States Army. After 24 years of service, and she worked with JSOC for 7 years. JSOC is Joint Special Operations Command, so Special Forces. She worked with them for 7 years. She also had her leg amputated after being hit by a car and still served for 9 years afterwards, deployed overseas, and in the year of 2016, she represented the United States at the Summer Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in the triathlon. That is super, super impressive. So, a trailblazer in many feats and just the lineage that's being carried on by all these great women, and she was one as well. So that is super commendable. Now, the new Secretary of Treasury is Scott Bissett. He is the 79th Secretary of Treasury. He is a graduate from an Ivy League university, which is Yale, and he is heavily invested in philanthropy. So, like I say, whenever there is a demand for new currency to be printed, you will find Mrs. Collins' signature right here and Scott Bissett's signature right there. So I'm looking forward to collecting those notes as well. All right. Now, if you could see back here to his right side behind him is the flag of the Department of Treasury. And over here is the United States flag. And speaking about that is now we see the seal of the Department of Treasury right here, but within the flag, the seal is encompassed. Now, the flag of the flag of the Department of Treasury was first adopted on January 11th, 1963. This here is the former flag. Now, the former flag of the United States Secretary of Treasury first originated in 1887 until 1915. Now, there are going to be some images of some more flags, and they all kind of they all favor. The only difference will be the color of certain images. Now, as you can see right here in the center, we have the traditional seal of the Treasury, and it has the scales for justice, the key for knowledge, and the chevron. The only thing that's missing is the stars within that chevron. But around the overall center, you have 13 stars that I'm pretty positive represent the original 13 colonies. And then also the seal is backed by two anchors. And I would just say that it's anchoring the Treasury seal and what it stands for in place. Now, it's a couple different flags, and I hope I get this right because I got it all written down, but I may got it written down kind of crazy. But I want to say that this flag right here is the flag of the United States Deputy Secretary of Treasury. So that's their flag, the United States Deputy Secretary of Treasury. This flag right here has the same images and they look similar. The only difference is the color. And this flag is the flag of the Assistant Secretary of the Treasury. This flag right here is the flag of the United States under Secretary of Treasury. There's one more. Okay, I know what I messed up. Okay, so this here is the flag of the the flag of the United States Under Secretary of Treasury. This flag is the Assistant Secretary of Treasury. This one is the United States Deputy Secretary of Treasury. And this flag is the flag of the Secretary of Treasury. Good gracious. All right, hold on one second. All right, we're back. All right, so I do not have a production team as of yet. Maybe once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I could possibly get one. But let's get into some fun facts about this episode. All right, so fun fact is since May 1929, 1949, all treasurers of the United States have been women, starting with Georgia Niece Clark. And she was the 29th individual in that position after a 23-day vacancy of that position. Now, with vacancies included, 18 women held that position. And the last male at that position was William A. Julian. So, Miss Patricia Collins is the acting, and she falls within that category of 18 women that have held that position. And it's crazy that it's been women since 1949 to hold that position. So that's a pretty awesome fun fact. All right, that's all we got for this one. Random pocket search and new notes added to the collection. All right, that's all we got for this one. Until next time, keep it legal, keep it tender. Talk to you soon.